In this video, we're going to simulate using custom stock and fixtures inside of the editor Backplot. Here we could see that I already have my part drawn as well as modeled into 3D. I have some clamps as well as a custom piece of fixture. Now, a simple way to separate these, we'll need STL files to actually simulate with them. So an easy way to do this is I'll start a new file for the clamps, and then I'll come back to my drawing over here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to select my clamps just by clicking on them. Then I'll go to edit and then copy. We'll click on the empty file and then paste those clamps in. Everything needs to be placed relative to 0 how you're going to be machining them. Now that we have the clamps separated, we're going to go to File, Save As, and the easiest way to do this is to save this inside of the Predator directory. So we'll come to C, then Program Files, then the Predator Software folder, and then inside of this folder there's a Common Files folder, and here there's a folder called Stock. This is by default where Predator looks for all of the STL models. So we'll save this as an STL. In this case, I'm going to name it clamp.stl. And we'll save. And then we'll also do the same for the stock. So I'll clear my selection, choose the stock, and then copy this. We'll create a new file, and then paste the stock in. And then we'll save the stock as, in this case, I'm just going to name it stock. We'll make it an STL model, and I'm just going to call it stock. And we'll save it. We'll come back to our original drawing, and I'm going to launch the editor from here. Now, in the editor, I'm going to right-click and go to Backplot. This will launch the editor's Backplot feature. Now, by default, BobCAD adds into the header the tool definition in the Predator header up here, as well as the stock definition, SBox. And if we start the Backplot, we'll see what it does is it, by default, defines a square piece of stock. Now, to change this and also to add a fixture, we need to edit this header. I'm going to go ahead and leave my tool set up, but here where it says SBox, what I'm going to do is I'm going to change that to STL, which would be stock STL. In this case, I'm going to call out the drawing that we made, stock.stl, typed in exactly as we have it here. Now also for the fixture, we're going to go ahead and add Fixture STL. And then we'll call out the clamps, clamp.stl, just as we had named the file. Now when we start the simulation, you'll see what it'll do is it will look for those pieces or those STL files that we had made, and it will include them in the simulation. Now in here I could see at one point that I didn't have my rapid plane set high enough, and we cut through one clamp. So by using the STL models for the stock and fixture, we can really get a good idea of what's going to happen to the parts when we machine them. Now, the easiest way to find out what's inside of this header, or how to program this header, is in the Help menu. If you come to Help, then Index, inside of the index, the easy way is to type in Predator, and you'll see the first thing that comes up is Predator header. There's a definition for all of these items that you can use in the header, like we had used SSTL, and it explains that this will create a custom stock. And it also gives an example of how to use this. As well as the other thing to remember is that you want to save your STL models inside of the Predator folder under Common Files and inside the stock folder. This is where the editor looks for these STL models by default. If you're to save them elsewhere, you'll have to type out the path the long ways using like C and then colon then backslash for the location. That concludes this video.